Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Blue Dog. This is my dog, and I love him. I'm completely obsessed with him. But I wanted you to meet him because he really wants you to be well. And he sits here while I record these videos, and he just loves me. He just sits here. He's across the room, so he doesn't love me like this every second, but he's just loving me the whole time, and he's inspiring me to love you guys. So I wanted you to meet him. Okay, let's get started. You go lay down with your baby. All right. Okay. All right, let's talk about the work. Let's talk about the work. Let's do the work. We've been sitting here. I've been sitting here trying to convince you that it is time for you to take charge and heal yourself. And today, in this installment of the Healing Yourself video series with Nicole, which is me, we're going to talk about the work and what to do. So let's begin. All right. Repressed emotions are only powerful in creating pain if they don't have a voice. All right? Don't worry. Nobody needs to hear this voice but you. This can be a completely private effort. Some people like to involve their psychotherapist in it. If they have a therapist, that's cool, that's fantastic, that's great, but you don't need a therapist to do this. Some people, once they come to certain truths in themselves that they would like to share with loved ones in a way that once they've really integrated it, they want to share it with someone, that's great. You may share if you choose, but you don't have to share this with anyone in order to heal. So that's the first thing I want you to understand. What these repressed emotions will do to you if they don't have a voice is they will knock on your door. Hello, I'm under here. I'm ugly and shameful. Hello. And if you don't decide to listen to those knocks at the door, they will knock as physical pain. And because we both know, you'll listen to that, right? If your back hurts so badly that you can't go to work, you'll listen to that. So just keep that in mind. One of my clients said very aptly the other day, TMS stands for telling me something. My body is telling me something. If you choose to listen, then it will simply be a piece of information that your body is trying to tell you. If you don't choose to listen, then it will come in the form of physical pain. This process I'm going to teach you today is the way you listen to your feelings. Give them a voice, let them be heard, and they will float to the side of the pool like that beach ball, and you won't have to constantly struggle to keep them down. Okay. The easiest way and the most effective way to give these feelings a voice is through journaling. Journaling is such an unsung hero in the world of mental health, in the world of happiness and joy and self-knowledge and inspiration. When we journal, we're taking our thoughts, which often race through our heads at Mach speed, and it takes time to either type something or write something, so our thoughts slow down long enough for us to have insights that come from our thoughts. Journaling is the quickest way for you to get better. Journaling in the way I will teach you is the quickest way to heal yourself from chronic pain and the most effective. So the process we're going to be talking about today was originally written and created by Dr. Sarno. I think the first book he ever published it in was The Mind-Body Prescription. I believe it's published again in The Divided Mind, which is his most recent book. And it's the lesson that he used to lecture on when he was still in practice and taught each of his patients, when we had our initial consultation with him. He would bring out a packet that would explain how to journal in this fashion. I still believe that his original creation of this journaling process is the most effective way to heal. I like to take it a step further with explaining to people the voice they need to invite in their journaling. But let's start with Sarno's process, which is you're going to create 3 lists. These are bulleted lists. They don't need to have any long content attached right now. 3 lists. The first list is entitled Childhood. The second list is entitled Daily Life. And the third list is entitled Personality. Childhood refers to any memory, any event, any reality that happened to you growing up until you consider yourself no longer a child. It could be, my father was an alcoholic, my mother was bipolar, my uncle sexually abused me. So it could be big things like that, or it could be, and it should also be, the time in 3rd grade when Susie left me out on the playground, the time I had stage fright and couldn't and ran off the stage at the school play. I mean, it is supposed to be and should be an exhaustive list of everything that you can remember in childhood that makes you take notice, that says to yourself, that sticks with me, that's still in there somewhere, that has affected the person I became, that still fuels my desire to be a certain way. That's childhood. Daily life, same kind of bulleted list, everything that affects you day to day. Your spouse, your partner, your kids, your business, your financial situation, any responsibilities that you've taken on, anything that happens in your daily life that you think, oh God, that's hard. Even beautiful, happy things are hard. Having a newborn baby, which is the joy of the universe, is hard. And so anything that affects your life in a way that you need to work hard to deal with, tolerate, accept, put it on the daily life list. The third list is personality. We all have a personality. Most of the time it's shaped by the childhood stuff. I'll speak for myself and for most people who are TMS patients. Perfectionistic, goodist, which is a phrase that Dr. Sarno always used for people who want to do the right thing all the time, to be good, to be accepted, to have everyone approve of them. Your compulsion to be a certain way, to dress a certain way, to look a certain way, to present a certain way. Whatever aspects of your personality fuel what you have decided creates your sense of self. The things in you that direct you to behave a certain way in order to perceive yourself as a certain way. Those things go into the personality list. Oftentimes, the personality stuff is the most difficult, the most insidious, because it informs everything we do. I am a parent, and so I have to do parenting. I have to do adulting parenting stuff every day. But my perfectionistic personality informs every single freaking thing that I do. I mean, I can beat myself up over minutia that you can't even imagine. But it's because I'm a perfectionist. Through my years of doing this work, I've understood why I'm a perfectionist, because my dad used to crack the whip about everything that I ever did in my childhood, and how it has informed everything, so I can gently look at that. I can be an observer of that. In meditation, they say, you are the whole sky and you watch your experiences pass by like the weather. That's the observing self we're looking to create through this work. Okay, so you've created these 3 lists and they are long. So what you're going to do is you're going to you're going to create time for yourself every day. And right now, you might think, I don't have any time. I'm here to say, yes, you do. How much time do you spend on Facebook or watching a stupid YouTube video? Not this one. Or, whatever. You have 20 minutes a day. If you're really in pain, I'm going to suggest 20 minutes twice a day. You are going to find a quiet space. And when I say a quiet space, I mean it can be like in your bedroom with the door locked so your kids don't barge in. It doesn't have to be sitting in the middle of a field. It could be in a Starbucks where nobody knows you. But the point is you're going to find a quiet space where you have 20 minutes, at least, to journal. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pick an item from one of these 3 lists. You do not need to go in order. What I like to tell people is look at your lists and say what pops out at me today during this session. You're going to put it at the top of the page, whether the page is a document on your computer that has no name, and we're going to get to the no name part in a second, but whether it be a document on your computer or a notebook, something to write on, you're going to put that heading. So we're talking about parenting. Let's say the heading for me that day would be motherhood. Motherhood is part of my daily life. I am a mother. It defines a tremendous amount of what I do. So motherhood could go on the top if that were me, but you're going to have your own thing. And then you're going to set a timer. We all have phones these days, different from my early days of this work. Put 20 minutes on your phone. Put a little timer with a little fun ding at the end when 20 minutes are up. Turn your phone off or turn it over. Do not watch your time. And just journal. Free write on the topic. You might start on motherhood, and within 5 seconds you might be on I can't stand walking the dog. And 5 seconds after that you might be on, and God damn it if one more person honks at me on my way to work. I really have to tell you that this is like a bunny in the snow. It's like a trail. It's going to go in ways that you might not have expected. Just go with it. One of the things that's most important in this kind of journaling is this is just for you. This is not journaling in some beautiful leather-bound book that's going to tell the story of your life that one day you're going to read again. This shit is dark. This shit is dark. Now, not every single thing you need to come up with is going to be dark. Some of it is just going to be the blah, blah, blah that leads you to the dark stuff. But this kind of journaling needs to be disposed of, okay? This is not some pretty thing that you're going to keep. You are going to either write it into a document that you will erase before you even close your computer, or you will write it in your notebook and you will shred it into a public garbage can. Or in some cases, and this is a really personal decision, people keep it because they want to share it with their therapist, but they are very careful about where they keep it. And the reason why I'm so serious about this is because if you're going to journal in the way that I'm going to teach you, that's going to really heal you and let that beach ball rise to the surface, people aren't going to always understand that language. The language I'm going to ask you to learn, it's like learning a whole new language, and that language is called journal speak. And I'm going to ask you to invite these dark feelings to have a voice, and that voice could be very misunderstood by your loved ones or could be very offensive. It's going to offend you sometimes, and you're going to have to be really patient with yourself. So I just want to make that clear, that this journaling is going to be something that you don't even really ever need to read again, because once you bring it to the surface and you take a moment to reflect on it, you've done the work. You've started to inform your conscious brain that these unconscious feelings are here and they are not going to kill you, and it's okay. We don't need to freak out. We don't need physical pain anymore. And so keep that in mind. The first thing about this journaling is that it's not something that you're going to hold on to unless you actually have a purpose and a reason, and you're going to be real careful about not leaving it around for your partner or your kids or your mother or your grandparents or your brother or whomever to have a juicy look at, because that is just really not helpful. Okay, 20 minutes a day or twice a day, depending on how much pain or distress you are in. You're going to go through these lists, and one by one, you're going to excavate things around these feelings. You're going to put things together, and you're going to gently, kindly, and patiently forgive yourself for them. So let's do an example. One of the things I write about in my book is the experience I had when I was in the throes of my worst back pain around motherhood. I had it in my head from a very young age that I was going to be Mother Earth. I couldn't wait to be a parent. It was going to be fantastic. I was going to have these babies and it was going to be joy. And you might hear that and say, the hell is she thinking? It's not like that. But, that was my reality. My reality was I decided it was going to be that way subconsciously. So when I had real kids, which any parent knows, kids are just little people with personalities, and you're tired and you're an adult now and not everything is a fairy tale. I was confronted in a way that I don't think I was quite aware of of how disappointing that was, how devastating, how tragic. And I use these very emotional words because journal speak is emotional. Journal speak is the language of a very mature 5-year-old, of the adult brain that you have right now and the emotions of a 5-year-old. So when a 5-year-old isn't given what he or she wants, it is a fucking problem. It is, give it to me! Whereas an adult says, oh, that was a little disappointing. Oh well, I'll have to make the best of it. Your subconscious emotions are a tantruming 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old, pick your age. It's a baby. It's a kid without social graces. That voice does not care if it's not reasonable to be upset about something. So my voice was with the 5-year-old mentality of, oh my God, this is not the way I want it to be. Everything is ruined. This is a devastating disaster. Whereas my adult brain, my conscious brain was, oh, well, okay. Today with the baby, wasn't really so great, but, that's okay. I'm going to be fine. It's all right if I feel alone, if it's all right if I feel alienated, if I feel tired, So, but in order to get to the journal speak, you need to start with an acceptable piece of your life, an item on your list, because the word motherhood was acceptable to me, obviously. I mean, I didn't think that there was a problem writing about motherhood. Motherhood was part of my life. So it was on my daily life list, and I put it at the top of the page. And when I started to journal, and I realized I was in tremendous pain. When I started to journal, I got this notion, and this is a notion that has led me, that has informed every day of my life since then because it's informed my career as well as my health. And that notion was, this isn't the truth you need to get to. You're lying. You're not just tired. Now, of course, the word lie means that it's not the truth. Well, of course, it's the truth on some level that I was tired, but that wasn't it. That wasn't the poison that was lurking beneath the surface. The poison that was lurking beneath the surface was, I freaking hated it. I hated being a mother. I hated waking up every day to the disappointment, to the devastation of my dreams, that this wasn't the unbridled joy that I expected it to be. This was hard work. This was difficult. And I was more than tired. I was destroyed. But as soon as I got that truth, okay, and I've spoken about this on many panels and in many public forums, and I can't say it enough. As soon as that truth was allowed to rise within me, and I realized it was not about hating motherhood, it was about connecting the expectations of motherhood to my entire life and the way I had kept myself safe in the moments of my unhappiness in childhood, that I said, well, doesn't matter what happens now, one day I will create this family, this perfect family. And that was really true for me. And so when it turned out to be regular life, that devastation was lurking underneath the surface, and I didn't have words for it. This process invited those feelings to the surface. And at first it was very upsetting and devastating, but it was so brief, because what happened as soon as I was able to release this ugly truth is that I realized, wait a second, I don't hate motherhood. I just needed that to be gone. I needed that perspective to have been unraveled, and for me to get that this is life. This is the life I get. And I was able to see it in a completely different way. Not the fallacy of my childhood. Not my unbridled expectations that, needed that 5-year-old voice to be heard so it could be given perspective. And, I hate to sound all Pollyanna about it, but it's just the truth. It opened me up to the real experience of motherhood. And having been open to that, I can't tell you how much I love it. I don't hate it. And this is what's beautiful about this work. You start with the truth and you bring the ugliness up because you have to. And then you're able to say, wait a second. I can see this for what it is. I can see this with my 44-year-old brain, not my 5-year-old brain. I love connecting with my kids. I love being a parent. And thank God I found this work so early on when my daughter was only 2 and my son was just a little guy, because I was able to clear that up with myself, very early on. And so can you. And no matter how many years you've lived with these ugly truths being suppressed, you can clear this up for yourself too through this process. After I came up with that really difficult realization, and I can't tell you how big it was for me, the next morning my back pain was 80% gone. Now, this was, not everything works that quickly. Sometimes it really does, actually, but sometimes it doesn't. And it's not necessary for you to base your healing on me. I just want I want to explain to you how powerful it can be. I also want to explain to you that no matter how quickly or how slowly this happens for you, it will work. Because once your brain is alerted that you don't need to hold down these ugly feelings anymore, you do not need the physical pain. It will melt away. I promise you, if you do this work. But you must wake up every day and fight your resistance and do the work. You find your quiet space. You get your journal of choice, whatever method that is. You set your time. And you do it until that bell goes off. And then you throw it out. Or like I said, you keep it in a very safe space to share it with your therapist. But it will heal you. Little by little, it will heal you. You will look back after however much, let's say a month, 2 months of doing this, and you will say, I cannot believe I waited this long. I can't believe that it is this simple to get a hold of what I need to do in order to heal. So in the further videos in this series, we are going to be discussing more tips for journaling and more insights. But right now, in terms of the work, I have laid it out, and I really, really encourage you to begin it right away, because it will not hurt you, it will save you, and it will heal you. And we're going to talk more. So love from me and from Blue Dog, and we're going to see you again soon.